Hey everybody, welcome to our show. My name is Jonathan Tripp. This is Talk Social News. This is another episode. This is our Friday week wrap up of our show, and I wanted to welcome everybody for being here. We've got a couple of kind of cool things that are going to be happening, some fun things. But first off, guys, I want to ask you if you would just share the show out, because without an audience, it's really just pretty much me talking in a room by myself, which maybe is cool, but honestly, I'd rather share it with you guys. Already, I do see a couple of you. I see Jen Nelson. I see Tish. Alfredo, thank you so much, guys, for being here and sharing this out. You guys are watching on Facebook. This really is kind of a cool thing. I love being able to see how you guys are doing. Welcome, Terry. You guys are joining us. And here's the cool thing. We're going live in a couple of different places today. We are going live both on Instagram. And if you're on Instagram, you actually get the behind the scenes view. You can find that over at John Tripp on Instagram. So thank you guys. And I appreciate all the hearts and the comments, you guys. We're also broadcasting on Let's Livestream. On the Periscope, and that's kind of a cool thing because Let's Livestream. You guys are a tremendous community. If you haven't already, you can watch us over there, and I do appreciate that share out as well. But if you guys are also watching us, and you can watch us on YouTube and on Facebook over at Vitmug. And so, like I said, we are kind of putting out some content on a bunch of different platforms for you guys because we're meeting where the audience is, not just where I kind of prefer. So that's just kind of the way that is. So thank you guys for that. We do actually have quite a bit going on today. But first off, if you guys aren't familiar with our show, Talk Social News, it is produced and distributed, in this case, by Vitmug. And Vitmug is a full-service digital production company. We offer graphics design, live and post-production services for both audio and video broadcasts. And if that's not cool enough, they actually do help their clients take their ideas from content ideas all the way through to execution. And if you want to learn more about it, and you haven't already, go over to vitmug.com and sign up for an email, or just reach out to us on one of the social platforms. We'd love to be able to connect with you there. So with that, guys, we are already kind of in full swing this morning. I gotta say that, I was looking through, I was trying to be really selective about news because there's a lot of minutia going on lately within a lot of the platforms. And over the last couple of months, if you haven't already figured it out, there has been a ton of big changes, service updates. I mean, it's in live stream world and it's on social in general. And thankfully, and I do mean this very sincerely. I mean, I love having new features. Don't get me wrong, right? But what I like is actually that things are starting to slow down. So we actually have a chance to use it and see how things are working, how you can break them, so to speak, right? I love that part of it. And so what we've seen over the last couple months, there's been a lot of like new features rolling out, companies acquiring new of each other and things like this. And so guess what? They've started to slow it down, and it's a good thing. And here's the reason why. Many of you guys now actually have the ability to be able to go out and use these services. They're just not for the elite. They're not just for the quick, big budget agencies and brands and things like this. And they're putting a lot of the features in our hands, and we like that. So this week, I really tried to kind of shift our focus, not necessarily away from live streaming, because that's well, I mean, if you guys don't know, I mean, I kind of like live streaming, but there's been a lot of smaller things that have come out in social that I would just want to bring your attention to, and some of them are actually very big, and there's one that's actually very big. It's a big deal, and the other one that and it's pretty much between Facebook and Twitter this week. But I do want to give you guys a chance right now, so that we can get to it just in a little bit within the broadcast. If you guys have like a news update, you're like, oh my goodness, guys, are we going to talk about this? Feel free to drop a link or to an article or something like that. Put it in the in the comments. Even if you're in Periscope, you can just tag it out. I'm using a service called Egg Drop. It just keeps the comments up on the side, and it makes it super easy so I can actually scroll back through and I can see your comments. And Terry, I appreciate you being here today. So I appreciate that. And if you are, there's a bunch of people actually in Periscope. If you guys would, if you're watching this on Periscope, just hit, just say hi or something like that. We try to keep it pretty simple. All right, so let's get into it. I wanna get into it right off the bat. All right, and I'm at the point now where when I see a headline news and something like this, and this isn't brand new news, Am I saying that the right way? But no, this isn't completely brand new, but the idea is how they're implementing it. But Facebook adds the option for ordering food. Okay, and this is going to be a precursor to something else that I'm going to talk about in a little bit later on that's coming out with Facebook, and why I think that this is kind of important. But here's the thing, right? If you actually want to place an order, you want to do an online order for your food, and I don't mean like your groceries, like how Amazon just bought Whole Foods, and now you can order your groceries online, or you can go over to Walmart.com and do a pickup order and that's not quite what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, it's like 9 o'clock at night, and you just get that craving where I gotta have a burger, or the Chinese food place, when you get that kind of an urge. Facebook is now making it so that you can order your food online. Okay, they want you to stay in Facebook so much that they're going to make this as an option, and it's a little button that actually says order here, and it's for those of you guys who don't know, this would be on the left side of your menu on your Facebook feed, and it's under you'll see order food, and then you click the more button. But when you get into it, you're searching for whatever the post is, or for that page. Certain pages it's probably going to be only with verified pages, but you'll be able to. It's a button. It's called a start order, and you'll be able to go through. And here's the thing, right? This is so interesting because of the way now that pixels are working, and they've changed this a little bit ago, where they can track both the coming and the going. Meaning, if your traffic coming from their website, they can now track it, and if you're going to their website, they can track it. So that this way they can actually the Facebook pixels are now so advanced that this has become so much easier to be able to connect the dots, so that they know that where you're at when you're there. And maybe it is a little bit big brother creepy, but I'm going to say it like this: as far as as a business, do you want to actually know where your business is coming from, especially with restaurants? This is actually really kind of a cool feature that your audience now, your fandom, if they're on your Facebook feed, they can now order from that for you. I think that's a really kind of a cool thing. That they've added this, being able to order food from your Facebook page, and that uses from what I've understand, restaurants that if they use delivery.com or Slice or things like this, it's actually this is going to be further rolled out and things like this over the next coming months, and probably just first quarter of next year, we'll really start to see it how it's actually playing out and how people are actually doing it. But guys, how many of you think that's kind of cool? That you're able to order your food from Facebook. I mean, or is this like oh my goodness, like Facebook again, it's gonna be taking over? I think it's kind of cool, to be honest with you. I think that's kind of a cool thing. So kind of moving quickly, right through this, and we're gonna get to something else that Facebook is doing, because they're doing this. And I think that this is a really important part. And now, so on the one hand, on this first part, right, we see that Facebook is adding that they are adding this ability to order food directly in the app. Now, I didn't bring up the fact that of how do they get paid? How's Facebook get paid for this? With Google or iTunes, when you make a payment through the app, you actually a portion of that payment actually goes to Google in iTunes. It goes to Apple. And that's how they make their money. As a matter of fact, that pay model, and I'm getting somewhere here, and that pay model right there, that's the reason why Busker had to shut down, because of that payment model, where they're taking a percentage and the percentages just got too big that they weren't able to cover their operation costs and make it a profitable business. So they had to shut it down. So that's why Busker's no longer here. But what Facebook is doing now, they're actually doing this kind of a different thing. And I discovered this firsthand. This week, and I didn't know it when I saw it first. I thought it was something different. But Facebook is now testing paywalls and subscription models for instant articles. If you guys have ever read, if you go through those trending nows and you see it pop up and they give you a list of all the different things that they think you might be interested in, and so if it's technology or sports or entertainment or something like that, or politics, right? You click on that and there comes up all these lists of like articles, and then you click on one of those articles and they then bring up in your Facebook feed, in that Facebook style, a number of different articles that you can choose from of which one you would rather read. And of course, 90% of us, probably more than that, actually click on that top thing, on that top article. Well, here's the thing. When you click on that, that's going to take you over to the article. Now, they've got a couple of options. Now, when it comes particularly to your mobile, so here's what happens, right? You click on it, and it's going to allow you to read. And I think by default it's 10. They'll allow you to read 10 articles for free that month before you get to before you have the opportunity to subscribe, right? And there's actually two pay models, but this is significant, guys. So now you're getting to the point where you're having to pay for for the content that you're going to receive on Facebook. I think that's a little crazy, but at the same time though, I'm like, kudos to you. So here's the thing, right? There's actually two different pay models within this. One, it is a subscription where in order to be able to use that like let's just say the Washington Post or something like this. I'm just picking out one, right? Whatever that news agency is, they'll allow you to subscribe to it. So what's the big New York Times, I think, does this. I think they do this on their online subscription, right? You actually have to, you can read like 2 or 3 articles for free. Well, Facebook is kind of doing the same thing where they're allowing you to take 10 articles through Facebook before they're saying, hey, you need to subscribe to a channel. Now, there's the paid version of it where those content providers, the news organizations, will make you click through and you have to go to their website. Now, this is very important. You go to their website, you sign up for their service, and you pay them. Did you hear how that progressed? There was no Facebook getting a specific cut of that subscription model. You click on their article, you go to their website, and you sign up using their payment methods. This is significant. This is why this is different than Google and Apple and all these other subscriber services, because this is what's going to be coming to you guys, okay? So that's the first option. Now, if that's going to be holding true, then this is what happens. As the time goes on, there will be a lot more tracking of traffic from Facebook to the websites in order to get all the content and for the payments to be made, right? So I'm thinking this. This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that Facebook has decided that they're going to offer this as a no-cost option for content providers to be making content within Facebook ecosystem, and they're going to figure out a way to deliver more ads, to do more tracking, and give more value to their advertisers at your expense. Now, you may not like that, but I'm going to tell you, in the long run, you're already doing it. You're already giving them lots of data. I think that this is actually a really ingenious, very strategic move by Facebook, because they're making it so that for advertisers, this is a win-win for Facebook and for advertisers. And not that as a reader, as a viewer, you're a loser. You're kind of outside of that equation because you're not part of the transaction initially. And I think that's actually a very interesting part of that. So if that was the model, then Facebook is going to be increasing their revenue through ads because they're going to start figuring out a way to continue to serve you ads. I guarantee it. That's how I see that. I'd love to hear what you guys think on any of that and what you guys are thinking. Let me catch up on some of the comments here. I see you guys are over on. I see you guys over on Periscope watching out. Thank you guys for dropping some of your questions. And you guys are really lively on Facebook today. Good for you. Man, I'm telling you right now, the coffee is on right today. Tish, what is this coffee club? Ooh, the best coffee ever. All right. No, but apparently William should put in an order gourmet coffee option on his streams. Oh my goodness, William, I gotta say, man, you inspire me now because I wonder if I could do that. I've actually thought about, like being able to do things like that, but I would love to have a coffee club. I'd love to have a coffee club. Are you kidding me? Let's all drink coffee together. Like there are very few things that are more socially friendly to me than drinking coffee together. So shout out to you. Thank you so much. But I want to say thank you, Jen. I see you here. General Joseph Burke, thank you for being here. William, you're hanging out with us. Awesome. Terry Johnson, and I just saw Crystal Horton pop in. Thank you guys for watching us. If you haven't already, would you guys please either like the page, like Vitmug, because we're going to be rolling out a bunch of new shows and some new content on a very regular basis. If you would share out this show, because this is the Friday wrap up. I know I missed last week. It's all right though. But I was kind of sick. My voice still hasn't even fully recovered. And so I'm really kind of hoping that that we're going to be able to keep rolling out some of these shows and some of the updates and innovations that we've been adding to the show. And you guys are going to see it, but you got to keep watching the show in order to be able to do it. All right, let's do this. We've got a couple more things going on, and this is really so I told you there's not really a lot of video news this week. I'm not lying. There really isn't, but I will tell you this: Twitter, among other things, we're going to get to the really big news with Twitter. But Twitter this week started introducing it's the new video-centric ad platform, and here's what's cool about it. It's native video within. Wait, I'm sorry. No, it's not native video. It's actually video from your website. I'm sorry. That was the change. So typically when we see a video it's either one of two things. It's either native video within Twitter or it's a link, like a YouTube link, and it just shows up as a preview, right? Well, what's happening now is that Twitter is introducing these the video-centric ads, and these are videos that play directly from your website in Twitter. They appear, I have a feeling, I haven't seen them personally yet, but I have a feeling that they're going to show up and they're going to look very much like Twitter native video. And the reason why I say native, meaning like it doesn't have all this other stuff around it, it's not delayed, they're autoplay, which is interesting because that's one of the main differences. And that actually provides a value add for a lot of the advertisers that when their ad shows up, that the consumer, that the viewer doesn't have to do yet another action in order to make it, in order to be able to receive the ad or see that website video, right? But I think this is kind of interesting because what's really happening is that Twitter is more fully embracing video as a means to connect with the audience. And I'm telling you, more and more as these kinds of things progress, the ability to share a very compelling message in a very short time is becoming an absolutely crucial a skill and ability for a brand or for a business. Taking too long to say anything, you lose everybody's attention, I gotta say. So that's the one of the things that was happening this week with Twitter. And the other one, and this really is the big news, and I was kind of saving this last because this actually takes most of the time to be able to describe it. Now, how many of you guys are aware Twitter has a PR problem? They've got a bullying problem. They've got a harassment problem. How many of you guys know that kind of stuff, huh? It's kind of crazy. So here's the thing, right? Twitter really has a big problem with this kind of stuff. And I don't know why I don't know why they've decided of all the times in the world, to do something about it right now, except for the fact that I do know why. All right. This past week, they have had such a hard time, such a big deal with trying to with trying to address harassment and a lot of the bullying, the sexual harassment with the Harvey Weinstein issue that's been brought up, and the use of the Me Too. There was a lot of these kinds of things being brought up, and there was a boycott. It was about a 24-hour boycott, and I saw a bunch of people putting out there. They're like, look, we're not going to use Twitter because of how it just in the execution and in the platform, they just literally don't care. That's how it comes across. And so what did I'm going to bring it out like this, right? Twitter, they did respond. And I reported on this last week. I talked about it last week, where they said changes are going to be coming out very soon, as in like this week. So I was looking for, well, what are the changes? Okay. So Twitter actually did this, and I just want to kind of quickly run down through some of the things that Twitter is doing, and this is important. This is in a broader sense, and Terry, you were actually talking about this. Terry, you were talking about this earlier this week on how Twitter has a problem with with this content, right? So here's the deal, right? Twitter has put out a timeline for the rest of 2017, because we're recording this. This is Friday, October 20th in 2017. For the rest of 2017, from the recording of this, from the date of this recording, Twitter has put out a timeline that they're going to hold themselves accountable, and they expect you to. I guarantee that's why they put this out there, full transparency and all that kind of stuff. So they're putting out this calendar of updates and changes that are going to be implemented. And I probably can I can probably find a link somewhere for that as well. But here's the breakdown of what's actually going to be happening. Okay. There's going to be have you ever saw a news article or something like this, and or you've seen maybe some content that has no place out, or for whatever the reason, and we'll get into the reason why they're actually breaking down and being very specific about what kind of content they're going to allow and what they're not going to allow. But the first thing is, whatever that content is, there's always this case of witness reporting, okay? And there can be very legit. There's times where there's going to be times where the content that's put out, it's malicious, it's violent, it's grotesque, or it's lewd, or whatever that case is. But Twitter is making it now so that they're going to be using a system that will allow victims and abusers to be more basically to try to protect them against harassment. Okay, so not only are going to try to protect what content actually goes out, but the reporting mechanism. All right. So what they're trying to do is, Twitter is allowing is allowing for the abusers and for the victim for reporting rules to be more strictly enforced. There we go. All right, and this will actually help reports that aren't actually reporting legitimate concerns, but they're just trolls that are trying to get other people's content flagged. And this is really important because let's just say you disagree with a point of view, or if somebody disagrees with a point of view and they just report it, because guess what? They want that content taken down. And so instead of allowing free speech and for good content to go out, they actually tag the content. They flag it to try to maybe get it taken down. That's a form of trolling. They're actually going to try to help prevent that with some of these new changes that are going on. And what they're hoping is that when these kinds of things are reported, that this is going to help kind of close that loop where trolls just step in and they actually just squash good news. All right, another thing this is really important, and we've already started to actually see some of this happening, but hateful display names are being banned. They're being taken off. The ban for hateful display names is where that, or name flaming. So let's just say what's happened in the past is that a tweet that came out that somebody doesn't like. So instead of being able to report it, what that person does is they change their username to be something like, like I hate coffee, or some maybe even way more offensive name than that, where the user changes their username to be an insult or some anti, maybe some kind of a protest name that's out there, right? Well, Twitter is putting a squash on that, where you can't change your name in that case, or if you do and you get reported, they find out, they're gonna ban or disable your account. And this was a way that trolls were using to change their name when they would reply to a tweet, that the actual insult, so it wouldn't actually be in the tweet, which is nothing. Now you can't nab them for bad content. The insult was in the name, and I think that was a very interesting way that Twitter is trying to now protect the content, protect the users. The other one is violent names in groups, hate symbols and things like this in your profile headers. They are going to be banned, and that's actually what we've seen already start to happen. So if you have some kind of a hate speech in your name or in your profile picture, you're going to be gone. That's just the way that it is, and they're going to be. This also goes. They're going to be using different ways of reporting this and checking this out in an effort to help prevent a lot of the sexual harassment issues, the bullying issues, the wrong account and fake news, and we've seen a lot of that. But what I was really impressed with was what Twitter is doing is that they put out a timeline. So they're talking about like having a non-consensual nudity that's being really aggressively addressed by the 27th of October. What is it? The next thing that they say is by that same date, a better experience for suspension appeals. So I think what they're trying to do is that they actually really are trying to go right down the list and trying to address some of these things. They're going to be updating their violent group news rules, hateful images. They're going to be updating that here by the beginning of November. Their new technology is trying to help prioritize the right kind of reports. And this has been an issue, is that how does Twitter sort out real reports of real news or real dangers from those just simply trolling and trying to take down somebody else's message by using the rules of the system, and going on and on, right? So here's some people have actually now they've read this, they've kind of looked through it, but here is the problem, right? The problem is this in a nutshell. When news is being reported, when a lot of these rules are being set out, if what they would do, and this is pretty significant, if what they would do is make it a way that senders can block users, but from their content, but also in a way that that basically it doesn't squash free speech. So and this is where it's a little bit off here, right? Because there are some of these rules, there's a big gap, as they say, in opportunity for trying to shut down abusive material or just fake news or lies or anything like this, right? But Twitter right now is leaving it up to users to choose how to mute or to mute certain replies on their content, or from certain. So it's both from an individual tweet to an entire account. And instead of making this as a one-time thing, I'm going to suggest that maybe they would make this on as a user default. Okay, that they have the option and warn people and let people know, hey, you have the option to mute this person, or this person, their content is muted, and you can go into the back office and look at it that way. Guys, I think there's a lot to be said for really taking it to Twitter as well as the band, on a lot of this hate speech, sexual aggression, in the way that Twitter is being used by its users. And I think Twitter does have a responsibility to try to make sure that that this kind of content is put out there in a right way that's open and that's honest. So I'm gonna let me kind of put this out there, and I had posted on my own Facebook, and then we'll close with this because then we do have our after show over with David Vaughn, and that's FB. Oh, there it is. I actually see it right now in Facebook. So, guys, earlier this week, I think it was yesterday or the day before that, I had posted a genuinely funny picture up on this is my personal Facebook profile. I had posted something very genuinely funny. It was TPS reports, right? It was a picture, and if many of you guys you remember watching, Office Space's quintessential, cubicle life, and how they, at the turn of the century, they were just making fun of just all this office life, right? I posted that up, and I actually want to look. I want to see. Because I don't remember actually. I want to see as of the recording of this show, and I'm bringing it right up on my phone. As of right now, how much engagement have I gotten on that one piece? On that one piece of content, I think there was the second to last piece of content I shared, right? Yeah, I have over 31 likes. I've got 22 comments. Some of them were even rolling in as of the broadcast, right? And it's a funny thing. This is TPS reports cover, and many of you guys just know the minutia and the love for this, right? I posted that, and then a couple hours later, I posted this other article. This is actually an article from the Washington Post, and it's the woman behind the Me Too movement. She knew the power of the phrase when she created it 10 years ago, and I put this out there, and I quoted a couple lines in there. It says this right here: "So viral campaigns like Me Too can work like interventions in the news cycle. The hashtag is meant for the public, a massive show of scale to prove that the issue is unavoidable, and its audience is everywhere, particularly men." Now that's a quote directly from it. I got 1 like for that. 1 like. And if we want to talk about what the real problem is in social, I'm actually going to put it out there that are we so concerned with and how great one funny article is and things like this versus one more serious article. And I'm not out here trying to shame people or say, all the 30 people that like this thing and they don't have any conscience for this. And guys, I realize that algorithms actually play a point in this. This is actually part of my point that I want to make. It's not just simply the content. It's not just simply how people interact. It's also playing off of what Facebook wants you to see in your news feed. And I was shocked. I know that my article from the Washington Post, although I genuinely feel this way. I think it's an excellent article, and I would encourage all of you, if you haven't already, it is actually a public article, so that's a public post. I wanted to make sure everybody could read this. I think it's a very important article, and I think it's something that you guys can go over and see. But what my point is that 30 plus likes, 20 plus comments on something that really had no value, but something that did have a significant value, only had one reaction. And I think it's very interesting. This is how we choose to interact on social. Sometimes we do emphasize the things that relieve us from our pain and that give us that emotional outlet. Because sometimes we need that funny in our lives. Sometimes we need that bringing us together moments, and it's hard because we're constantly inundated with things that I think make life harder. From news outlets, and we were just talking about something really serious with Twitter in the bans and how they're going to try to change the culture in Twitter. And I know it's going to be very difficult. But I think what we need to do is when we see something really great, it's something not just something funny, but when something is being done well, and it's meant to be helpful, make some noise, say something, congratulate them, say, I appreciate that. Thank you for posting those things. And not because I need it, but because other people out there. And that's one of the whole points of the Me Too movement. It is bringing out and encouraging and showing support for people that need it. So with that, guys, I want to say thank you guys, everybody, for watching us. This has been a really great episode for just being able to be there and participate. So I wanted to make sure you guys all had a chance to join us today. In the after chat, our after show here, we're actually going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be testing out and showing you guys. We're actually going to be going live from Skype. And at least I think David Vaughn's in control of this one. And honestly, I apologize in advance for everything that is probably going to happen today on the show. But if you can, I did pin the comment. It's over on fblive.davidvaughn.live. Or you can just pay attention. I'm sure somebody will post the links somewhere else. I just dropped it in Periscope. If you guys are really interested, I don't know if you guys are over on Periscope, but I will say this. Guys, I love having you guys here. This is actually probably one of the highlights of the week. Don't forget that we do have some shows coming up. Last week, this past week, we actually we interviewed Hani Mora from repurposed.io, and we just had a really great chance to be able to meet with him and be able to talk through a lot of what his services are. And if you guys aren't familiar with it, it's actually really kind of cool. Repurposed.io. It automatically publishes your podcast and your Facebook live streams to your social platforms, helps you grow your audience better. He actually what he did for our audience, and this is going to include you guys today. You guys can try it out for free. You see the link below. It is an affiliate link if you sign up for a paid service, but there is a no obligation free. And I would just say go over to vmug.pro/repurpose.io. Right now there's an early bird pricing. So if you are interested, if that's something that will help you, and believe you me, I'm going to figure out a way to how to implement this and save myself some extra hours. But I want to give you guys that chance to be able to do that. So with that, I know we've got a lot of things going on this week. Let's live stream. We're going to be talking about live streaming fears in our upcoming Halloween edition. We also then will have live talk. We'll have Talk Social News Monday edition, catch up for the weekend and tell you what's going to be happening. We have another walkthrough coming on. I hope you guys are able to join us for that. Have a really fun time. So with that, guys, I'm just going to say thanks. I'll see you in a couple of minutes. All right. Take care.